My favorite example of black mob violence in Iowa happened at the Iowa St. Jude Sweet Corn Festival in Cedar Rapids. You've heard of that, right? You know that now that the Sweet Corn Festival is a center of black mob violence in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Yeah, it happens in Iowa too. In this case, we had 70 to 100 black people rampaging through the Sweet Corn Festival, the St. Jude Sweet Corn Festival, attacking fairgoers, attacking cops, punching them in the face. And when they had one cop on the ground, they started kicking him. That's Iowa. Why don't we move over to Des Moines for something more recent? People in Des Moines are freaking out. They're freaking out because they're running out of ways to talk about this without telling exactly what it is. It's happening so often. They're running out of ways of saying the teenagers are meeting to have us fight. Started out small, got big. No, what you had in Des Moines, Iowa, twice in the last couple weeks are over 100 black people rampaging through downtown, attacking each other, attacking citizens, and fighting cops. And that's in Des Moines, Iowa. Wow.
Started out as kids showing up to see a fight, ended in 3 arrests Wednesday. In this case investigation report, police say 100 to 125 juveniles arrived at the DART bus station.
We started getting a large crowd down there. You could tell tensions were rising.
People who ride the bus every day say teens gather outside Central Station often.
Just normally high school kids or like middle school kids, and they'll come down, it starts normally with play fights and stuff.
Glad the cops are there, because it stopped that. Because if they weren't, they'd still be fighting down there.
Police tried to control the situation and most students listened, but not all, leading to what you see here.
The officers tried to arrest them, and that's when they met some resistance.
This is the second time in the past few weeks that police have had to respond to large crowds of teens being disruptive outside DART.
It's with increasing frequency that we see these types of incidents down there. I mean, we had one 2 weeks ago. So there was a lot of factors that allow this to happen. And, we're going to be looking at all of those.
Police say they can manage behavior, but not change it. And it will take the community to solve the problem. Those with DART agree.
Our DART team is working closely with the Des Moines Police, the City of Des Moines Public Schools, and other community members to determine the best steps going forward in these situations. It's important that we all work together as a community.
Eventually, about 100 high school and middle school students converged onto an area around 6th and Walnut.
But the violence didn't end there. Ben Oldak's here to take us through what happened.
Janae, police say they knew that a fight was coming, but they didn't know it was going to grow into something this big. And on top of that, something that would lead to an innocent bystander being hospitalized.
And our school resource officers received some information that there were 2 kids that were planning a fight. They were going to fight each other. Who knows why? I'm sure it's absolutely ridiculous, but they were going to fight each other.
But what may have been a normal after-school fight turned into a spectacle.
Word spread. We could see that it was picking up some momentum. So we sent some officers down to the area where we thought this was going to occur. What we did not expect was the number of students from a variety of schools that showed up simply to spectate.
The police department had 10 officers in place. They were met with around 100 students from different schools gathered to watch what was happening. Then things got out of hand.
And then we had what we would expect. There was small skirmishes that broke out within this large crowd. That mob mentality takes over, and these kids started just getting out of control. Whether it was something as simple as bad manners all the way on up to assaulting a police officer, that happened in this crowd.
Police say a large fight broke out in the crowd, and they had to use pepper spray to get it under control. 3 males were arrested, ages 14, 15, and 16. After 2 hours, things were back to normal. But the story doesn't end there.
What happened later was several of these kids got on a bus and left the area.
Some of the teenagers got off those buses here at the McDonald's on University, where police say they began to fight again and eventually turned their aggression to a passerby, leaving him with injuries so severe he had to stay at Mercy Hospital overnight.
According to the police report, that man was 55-year-old Dan Opre.
And they caused pretty serious injuries to him. It looks like he might have some facial fractures and a gash on his head.
Now, the victim has been released from the hospital. Perisic says these issues should have been solved in the home and that it's absolutely ridiculous the department had to dedicate the amount of resources they did for this incident. Des Moines Public Schools released a statement on the brawl saying, quote, "There certainly may be student discipline, but the district will wait until police finish their investigation before moving forward. We are thankful for the DMPS staff member who originally alerted school resource officials to the possibility of a confrontation."
Of course, the cops are getting their spiel down. Well, it's not going to be up to us to solve it. It's going to be up to the families to solve it. It's going to be up to the community to solve it. Well, the family and the community doesn't think there's a problem. They think the cops are picking on those kids because they're black. They think white kids do it too. They don't think there's a problem with the kids. They think there's a problem with the people who run DART. They think there's a problem with the cops. You don't understand that, do you? Well, the less you understand it, the more ridiculous you sound as you say it. Because Des Moines, you have a full-fledged problem with black mob violence, however you want to describe it, however you want to be in ignorance, denial, and deceit about it. You're not going to tell us anything new, Iowa. You're not going to pull any cards out of your sleeve of denial, deceit, and delusion that we haven't seen before. Every cop in Iowa remembers the most important lesson from Beat Whitey Night at the Iowa State Fair. Does anybody remember that? A couple of years ago, we talked about it a lot, and Don't Make the Black Kids Angry and White Girl Bleed a lot. Large group of black people at the Iowa State Fair in Des Moines, rioting in the fair, out of the fair, beating up patrons in the fair, out of the fair, on the way to the fair, leaving the fair, in the parking lot. Cop did a police report saying the kids were screaming it was Beat Whitey Night. They attacked cops too. So they went to the police spokeswoman, Lori Loverato, and they said, "Lori, what's up? Are there a bunch of black people attacking white people? Or why is that happening in Des Moines? That doesn't happen in Des Moines, Lori Loverato." She said, "Yeah, it was a bunch of black people. We're trying to figure out what's going on." She got fired the next day for that. Every cop and every public official in Iowa got the message. When the fellas start rioting in Iowa, in Des Moines, or in Cedar Rapids, just shut up about it, or the same thing will happen to you. The community has to solve this problem with better parenting. Why don't you just come out and say it, Iowa, what the best solution to this problem is? The riots were caused because we did something to make the black kids angry.